Welcome to the stream, everyone. It's great to have all of you here. Like always, we're going to kick things off with a little Q&A. Let me know any questions that you have about the game or that have come up recently. After that, I will announce today's topic. Spoiler alert, we will continue doing what we did last live stream. Also, maybe after today's live stream, I will finally get around and upload the last couple live streams. And yeah, I guess that's all that I have to say. Do you use open broadcasting software? Yes, here it is. Some nice infinite regression. Woo! I won't answer that, of course, but you will receive more hints soon. Will the alpha still be released in October? Nope. In fact, I don't know why a lot of people still believe in that release date, because on the website it says I will release it when I think it's fun. Like, there is no specific date anymore. I will try to be as quick as possible, of course, and slowly it feels like everything is converging to such a point, but it will take some more time. How many live streams will there be before the move? And will there ever be live streams after that? I guess there will be 2 more, like 2 next week. And will there ever be live streams after that? I will try my best to make that possible. Like I said in this week's update video, I'm only able to bring my laptop at first, and I'm not quite sure if it's possible to stream from it, like both performance-wise. The performance problem could be fixed by using capture hardware to capture the monitor, so the computer doesn't have to do it. And the second requirement is that I have internet that it is good enough, and I don't know if that will be the case. I will have to see about that, but if it's at all possible, I will try to continue streaming from there. I noticed that you don't upload some streams on YouTube. Yeah, I just didn't get around to uploading the last few ones. Like I said, I will try to do that after today's live stream, but I will have to see. Any other questions? Will construction and such be simulated? For example, with its impact on traffic and such. There will be construction, it won't be instantaneous, it will be like little animations. Effect on traffic would be something really interesting, but potentially also really annoying. I will have to see if it's worth being implemented. Will there be roadworks? I guess this is kind of the same question, like construction that obstructs traffic. Like I said, I will think about that. Will construction be like in some city games, with the whole thing emerging out of the ground? Well, I think the way I will implement this is the whole thing emerging out of the ground, but kind of the system behind that allows it to be as elaborate and detailed as you want. And the building animation would basically be part of the procedural building definition. Like, if you design a new procedural building style, you can also define what the construction animation looks like. How about last stream? Does it work? You mean what we did? Nope, but we will continue, and I know exactly what the problem is, so this should be an easy and quick fix. Do you think an alpha will be ready during your year away? Yes, I think that is possible. In fact, I hope that I will have it ready like this year before New Year's. But let's see. Also, I'm not listening to any music. Let me get my earbuds. For larger buildings, will realistic construction methods take place? A crane driving into the site and setting up, concrete trucks showing up, a site office established, etc. I think that's probably not worth the effort. Like, it would be nice to have a crane and stuff like that as part of the animation, and then like generic construction vehicles having to go there, but adding more detail is not really something I can justify the time for. Of course, mods can always implement like really detailed stuff in one particular area of the game. Let's see, what didn't I listen to in a long time? I guess let's listen to some Richie Hawtin mix. Ah crap, but it's only on one side. Hold on, I gotta fix my audio setup. What do I think of City Skylines? So far I only saw their announcement trailer, and they do they have some very similar goals to me. They don't try to do some of the things that I try to do. And I think it will be great just as inspiration and competition, because I can see what works great in their game, what doesn't work, where they set their emphasis on which mechanics, and then it will be much easier to figure out where I want Citybound to be the same or where I want it to be different. Will foundations be dug and set before large building construction starts? Why not? But yeah, minimalism is the more important goal overall. Yeah, it says stream starts 4 minutes ago. I think that's fine. Minor grammatical error. Adhesive Wombat, what kind of music is it? Would it be possible to make roads and intersections that are dangerous and cause lots of traffic accidents? Yes, probably as soon as speed limits are taken into account. I could make traffic behave in such a way that if you don't properly design, for example, a highway on-ramp or something like that, that traffic will actually accidentally do dangerous stuff. The zoning brushes of Skylines. Okay, I will have a look at that. What is good about them? Filling of like complete blocks, okay. Yeah, why not? Would be a nice way to emphasize them, because I guess if an accident just happens somewhere, you almost won't notice. What are some ways you can generate profit within the game? Well, up until recently, I only thought that there will be property tax and maybe even income tax. But Lord Sleepyhead, one of the regulars here, posted a really nice idea on Reddit about a new mechanic that he suggested, where you actually sell off lots for developers in your city, like the cities do in real life. And by taking a careful look at demands and property value, you can actually make a lot of profit by doing some nice planning and basically speculation in your own city, and I will talk about more on that soon, and I will also start implementing that soon. Will public transport work through the posts? I'm not sure. I think I will just like spawn buses and trains and they don't really come from anywhere. Because I think like tiny depots look ridiculous. So maybe I won't have them at all, or I will have them big enough. When will you start developing the code for trains? Well, like I said, after cars, the first thing that I will implement is pedestrians. And after that, probably buses and then trains. Just looking at the transport options. Do you see the game taking on multiple difficulty levels of complexity? Yeah, ideally the difficulty would kind of scale proportional to your city size. Like, not only do you have more problems when your city gets bigger, like more of the same problems, but also a completely new set of problems that only arise in bigger cities. And by developing their city at their own pace, I hope that the player will be able to always kind of ride the nice part of the difficult curve, whether he's a beginner or an expert. Yeah, I will try to steal that. Yeah, trains are like a simpler version of cars. Yeah, that's kind of different, but that's not a big problem. This will only make pathfinding more interesting, or I guess automatic creation of train schedules. This is something that I haven't figured out at all yet, but there's some nice literature on that, I think. Any other questions before we start? Yeah, no, I don't think that will work out. Will Earth be a resource? Got to do something with it from digging a tunnel. Need. You mean that you kind of have to deal with it? I'm not sure if that's fun. Is JavaScript going to hold you up when you have a big city? Probably not. So far, every time I thought JavaScript was the bottleneck was actually the way I implemented some algorithm, and there was a like better way to implement it. Maybe at some point JavaScript will become a problem, but then I still have the option of moving some parts of the code into native code and connecting that with JavaScript. Yeah, probably. That's good to know. What online sketchpad do you usually use? It's called simply sketchpad.io or sketch.io. This is what I use. Yeah, buses will have a lot in common with trains, and if I figure out some of the stuff for buses, trains will be easier to do. Alright. Your last questions and thoughts before we start, please? Is at least some of your JavaScript JIT compiled? Yeah, all of it is JIT compiled, of course. Like all JavaScript that you throw at V8 gets JIT compiled, or at least it tries to JIT compile it. And I've taken a lot of care that at the most hot places in the code, I wrote the code in such a way that V8, the JavaScript engine that I'm using, can do as many of its optimizations that it has built in as possible. And stuff like that is really, really helpful for performance. There will be planes and ships, yes. If some big corporation came and hoped you can sell the game to them, will you do something like Microsoft did to Mojang? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what price they would have to offer. I mean, the price almost doesn't matter. Like, the more important stuff is what it means for me working at the game, and I don't see why any big company would want to buy the game and keep everything like it is now, like the way I do development and so on. And yeah, basically I want to keep development exactly like it is now, and I want to, like, not necessarily work on it alone, but I want to keep full control over it and over the vision for the game. So I can't imagine something like this ever happening. Elevations like rivers and hills, after I get basic gameplay working on a flat terrain. It won't be that hard. It will be mostly like, it won't be that complicated, but it will be kind of tedious to adapt all of the game system to 3-dimensional. Okay, how about I tell you what we are going to do today actually. So so yesterday we started working on intersection behavior, and the first kind of piece that we need for that is to figure out when we have an intersection, for example with 3 incoming roads, and we have lanes like this. Then of course we have these intersection lines here. Yeah, like this and like this and like this. And the first thing that we need is to figure out where these intersection lanes actually intersect with each other. What is kind of the critical area that in which they have to care about each other. And for that we started with some basic geometry intersection code, and we got line-line intersections we already have. They're easy, of course. And then at the end of yesterday's live stream, after a lot of thinking, we started to think about line-circle intersections and how to do them. And we almost got it working. And today I figured out why it didn't work, and this will be the first thing that we can fix. Basically, this huge intersections of line and curve function. The inspiration that I used for that is just this page on this topic that I found. the problem why it wasn't working is because they assume that the circle is at the origin, and I forgot about that. So all we have to do to make it actually work is to convert, I mean this will stay the same, but we have to convert this into coordinates relative to the circle. So we have to subtract the center of the circle, and so we need to first calculate all of that so we know where the center actually is, and then do the other stuff. So okay, we need to basically subtract the center from all of that. Yeah. And I think that's the only place where it will factor in. Anywhere else, I don't think so. Yeah, no, that's fine. I will make the font size a little larger for you guys. Okay. So let's try that out. To debug this, we're just going to draw some lanes and use them as lines. So this is lane 0, this is lane 4, so we can do something like intersection points is get, what is it now, line, no, intersections of line and curve. We're going to use lane 0 dot A, lanes 1 dot A, lanes 4 dot, whoops, this should be B, of course. Lanes 4A, lanes 4A direction, lanes 4B. Let's see where they are. They are empty. What? I thought I always returned them. Okay, that's strange. I guess we'll have to debug it. So let's debug it. Okay, so this is smaller now, this is strange. What? That's not correct. That is not correct at all. Did I give it the wrong input? Oh yeah, grab, of course. All right. I don't know why I wrote 1 there. That's stupid, of course. 0, do that. Okay, now this is bigger than 0. Yes. So now we have our intersection points, 2 of them, and we can display them. Debug point add p. Let's make them red. Close that. Oops, close that. Debug points add. What? Hold on, where are they? We should see them now. Yeah, awesome to have you here, Mandelsoft. I guess we will have to figure out some very basic geometric stuff first today, but you might be great help later on when we do the higher level intersection behavior. What? Why can't we see them? Should be visible. Where are they? Oh, up here? That's stupid. Something is wrong. Something is very wrong about that. Okay. Yeah, I saw what Mandelsoft wrote, and that's what I already drew yesterday. But first we have to get like basic line circle intersection going, and then later we can factor in the width of the roads and vehicles and so on. Why are they there now? It doesn't matter if the x and dy don't have to be positive. I think I'm just missing something. Like, this is the only place where I need to transform coordinates because they assume that that the circle is in the center. What am I not seeing? Basically, this is the only thing that happens to them. Is that correct? Yes. But this should work. I don't understand why it doesn't. I mean, the x and dy, it doesn't matter if the points are transformed by something, because the difference between them will always be the same. I'm pretty sure that our center is correct because I checked it earlier. And I thought this would be such an easy start to the stream because we can just fix that, but alas, it's never like this. I mean, can you see them? The points are here, which is really strange. But we can try to figure out if the center is correct. Let's see about that. So let's do that again. The center is 337 and minus 353. What was it? 337 minus 3. 337 353. Approximately. Let's make the center green. Now, where's the center point? It should be somewhere. Yes, it's here. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe let's make it actually also red. Here, this is the center point, and this seems correct, at least to me. This indeed looks like the center of this circle segment. Mundelssoft pasted somewhere like GitHub gists or something like that. like here. You can just paste it here and put the link, and it would be great if you also posted the link on one of the community pages. So the center is definitely correct. That's so strange that that happens, because before with the old arrow at least the points were on the line. Let me think. Okay, so of course we have to add the center again. If we do that, does that make sense? Yeah, probably. Yeah, of course. Sure, if we just transform it, then we have to add it again. But okay, but that makes sense now. Okay, let's see. Can you capture two screens at the same time? Yes, in theory, but I don't think that Twitch supports that resolution, or that it's even possible to look at that with a nice frame rate. Or I guess not frame rate, but bandwidth. Okay, let's do that again. Get the intersection points. Okay. And now display them. And now we have one correct intersection point here, and the second one is over here where the circle would meet the line. So now we can re-enable the code that checks if the intersection point is actually on there. So now if we do the same thing again, we should get only the actual intersection point. And we get no intersection point. Okay. So back to debugging. It should, one of them should be on the line. False. False. Both of them are not on the line. Okay, because this, because this still uses the untransformed coordinates. Maybe I should check everywhere for that. Wait, no. Here. And then center Y here. Okay. Okay, so now we have this point here, but no longer the other point. And yeah, we only get one. Okay, so let's check the other two cases when there's no intersection at all. Something like this. Now it should be empty. Yes, that's also correct. And then the case where we have two intersection points like this, it should give us both of them. And we get both of them. Okay. So now we can tackle the even more complicated case of intersection of curves. This will be fun. B1, A2, A2 direction, A2, I don't know, B2. Yeah, the reason curved roads don't work as the first section is just a user interface problem. It's of course supported. Okay, so let's find out about intersection of circles. No, I don't want circles given by their equations. But I guess we can use this. Okay. So we need this formula here. What is h? Let me open the window. Let me know if like the background noises are too loud. Okay, so let's pretend that we already have the radiuses. And d is what? D is the distance, I guess. Yes. Okay, so let's first get radius and center. One. I mean, this is pretty ugly, but we can fix that soon. A one direction to one. Okay, and then the same for 2. I will make this nicer in the future, maybe in a refactoring live stream. Okay, so now we have the radii and centers. So now first we can calculate d is center 1, distance to center 2. What else? We can now, oops, nope. A is radius 1 times radius 1 minus radius 2 times radius 2 plus d times d divided by 2d. Okay, and so I guess h is not square root of size 1 times radius 1 minus a times a. This word joke is so bad, I think if I wasn't already sitting, I would have to sit down. But I appreciate it. Okay, so x1 is, or I guess, okay. Yeah, x1 is center 2, yes, plus h times center 2x, center 2y minus center 1y divided by d. Okay. X2 is the same but with a minus here. Makes sense. This looks almost the same, just with x and y swapped. Yes. Okay, so let's first test that if it works. Line 420, there's a thank you for that, Osku. It should be radius 1, yes, not radius 2. Okay, that's actually okay. What is it complaining about here? Y2? Oh, whoops. Let's test it. Now we need two curves. So like this and like this, for example. And this is lane 2 and lane 6. Intersections of curves, it should be. Let's see, did we get them? Yes, so now we can display them. Okay, this is completely wrong. So I guess we have to check if the centers are correct. Make sure that they are. Center 1 is -173 and 416. -173, 416. And the other center is at -60, -66. Okay, I will check that line in a second. Continue. Here is one center, that's definitely not correct. Okay, so this center is correct, the second one isn't at all. Check line 411. Oh crap. Thank you. 428, I fixed that. Okay, but 411 was wrong, that's correct. So let's see again. Thanks for being so attentive. Okay. What? Where is it? Here? Nope. Also not correct. I guess we have to... let's look at it closely. But okay. I wonder where the second one is though. Oh, down there. That's strange. Okay, let's check centers again. Awesome, thanks. I will have a look at it when needed. So center 1 is 186, 491. 186, 491. Let's make blue the center so we can distinguish them. Yeah. And so 186, 491. 186, 491, that's correct. And center 2 is at 297, 210. 297, 210. 297, 210. Correct signs. No, other way around. -210. Okay, let's see where they are. So here's one center and here's the other. So now the centers are correct indeed. But the intersection points aren't at all. But what's interesting is that these three seem to lie on a line somehow. Okay. So our centers are correct. What else could be wrong? The formulas, of course. D is the distance. A is radius 1 squared minus radius 2 squared plus d squared divided by 2d. Ah, that's interesting. Did you see that here they have plus minus and here minus plus? So I have to switch these signs around. Makes sense. But such a detail, I almost missed that. Let's try again. Nope. But now it looks like that's almost correct, but offset. I'm going to get some more water. I'll be right back. No, he's talking about the red dots. The red dots are where the algorithm thinks the intersection between these two roads is. Obviously that's wrong, but we'll try to fix that now. Yeah, I just copied. Did I just copy that from what? No, that's fine. Okay, the offset is wrong. Let's see about that. No, he's not talking about the arrows. He's talking about the red dots. Wait, what is x2? Oh, I see. How do we get... So that's not centered, that's something... Okay. So here we have something else, and this is... Oh, I see. Let's call it something like H, and I guess yeah, this is just, let's call it M for midpoint or something, or like mid X and mid Y. This is center 1, add scaled, and we want to do Yeah. Center 2 clone sub center 1 and scale that by A over D. Yes. Or do we want to do it? No. Midpoint, let's call it midpoint. And we want here, this should be midpoint. Yes, makes sense. Let's try. Nope. Yeah, 1 hour almost of just working on geometry. I hope you guys don't mind, but it's just part of the job that you have to do, I guess, when you want to create a game such as this. Oh yeah, this should be, I think I mixed up Y and X. No, here it's X, here it's Y. Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome, I'll have a look at them. That's perfect. Thanks, Mandelsoft. Okay, where are they? What does this look like? Never mind the small gap here, that's a bug that I'm aware of. Let's try again with different circles, maybe I will understand. Yeah, it's always in the center there, so... basically something about the radius is wrong. Maybe. Let's see where the midpoint is, if the midpoint is correct. midpoint is 109 minus 45. 109 minus 45. Yeah, let's have that in blue, please. The midpoint is there. Is that correct? No, I don't think so, actually. In fact, the midpoint, shouldn't the midpoint be on one axis with the two intersection points? It should be, right? Yeah, it really should be. But maybe that's a different z coordinate. No, that's 0, that should be fine. A is 1000, does that make sense? Maybe. Yeah, that makes kind of sense. H is bigger than what it looks like. If you want to know that, please ask again in the next Q&A session. I will do one soon. Right, so the midpoint isn't correct, I think. All of this seems correct. Is it the problem that our radii can be negative? No, because they're squared always. Yeah, they're always squared. Bye, Microsoft, and thanks again. Yeah, that's reasonable. A is this much, okay. Also makes kind of sense. strange, I don't see it. Looks like they're off by some factor. I'm sorry for becoming so mute, but I have to figure out why it doesn't work. Let's draw two other circles, intersect at smaller angles to see what happens. Okay. It seems like they're not scaled enough, which is strange. I'm just guessing something, which might be completely wrong and ridiculous. But let's see. Where are they now? Okay, some are completely different. Can't even see them. So that was a stupid idea, like I said. Let's stare at it some more. Yeah, that would definitely help. I didn't pay attention to that link. Yeah, the earlier values seem to be fine, at least intuitively. Let me look at the C source code example. Alright, D is here. A is radius, yes. This is correct. Divided by 2D, okay. H is radius minus this is correct. Yeah, here we can just write d dot y, of course. No, we can't do that. Okay, that's fine. dy. Okay. JavaScript source code, okay. To me it looks like it does exactly the same thing, so I need to check definitely passing the correct values. Yes, let's make sure. So we're looking at lane ID 2 and lane ID 6. We get lane 2A direction, lane 2B, lane 6A, lane 6A direction, lane 6B. Okay. Yeah, but we're basically doing that. I mean, if it makes you happy, we can move the divided by d over here. Oops. But it shouldn't make a difference. Yeah, still the same. Oh, that's so strange. Okay, so let's actually manually input values and check everything. So what do we want to have as input? Is 0, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's create one circle that starts at the origin like this and has radius 2. And let's have a second circle that starts at 1, 0, goes like this and also has radius 2. And let's input these manually and see where all our points are. So our midpoint should be here ish. Let's see. Alright, so reload and then So here we want new 3 vector 3. Oh, let's write that down here in a new file and then paste it. So this is 0, 0, 0. Our direction is into X direction. B is at 2, 2, 0. Our second circle starts at 1, 0, 0. The direction is the Y direction. And it stops at 2, 3, 0. Okay, so let's do that, see what it returns. One of them is at 1.1 and 0.5, which is correct. The other one is at 1.7, 2.4. Ah, whoops. I mixed up these. This should be 2, this should be 3. Let's try again. Okay, one of them is at 1.25, 1.25 and 0.6. Yeah, still makes kind of sense. So like here, and the other one is at 1.74 and 1.3. Oh, but that might be too small. No, but actually that sounds reasonable. But it might be too small. How about a better drawing maybe? Where we use actual lines if something like that exists. Do we have a line tool here? No, okay, let's try to use these. Okay, so let's make, whoops, let's say that 5 of those are 1, 2, 1, 2. Circle. We create one like this and another one like this. Maybe we shouldn't use circles, but rings. Yes, much better. So one of them is like this and one of them is from here. So let's see, coordinate is 1.52, but it should be just barely more than 1 and 0. Okay, so the result is definitely wrong. The result is wrong, so let's step through it. First, let's check the centers and then everything else, I guess. Yeah. Let's just check everything. Do that again. So center 1 is 1.5. What? No, that's incorrect. What? Center 2 is at 300, that's correct. Center 1 is at 300. No, center 2. And center 1 is at, should be at 0. Wait, that's crazy. Why is it doing that? So the first center isn't correct apparently, but why? What? That's so strange. Like our direction is x in x direction, correct? And the second point is at 2, 2. I mean, the second circle is correct. I don't get why the first one is so off. Okay, just to make sure, A1 is 0, 0, 0. A1 direction is 1, 0, 0. Points in x direction. This is 2, 2, 0, also correct. This is 1, 0, 0. Yes. Okay. But our, let's check the radii. Radius is 2. Radius is 2, that is correct. Jesus, why so complicated? Negative radius is not a problem. No. These values are the correct ones. Thank you for that. And we get different ones, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Why this? That's just crazy. Radius is 2. The radius direction points in that direction, which is correct. What? How is it possible? A1 is at 0, 0, 0. What? I think I'm going crazy slightly. It's fine actually, and we need that because our radius direction is negative and radius is negative, so it works out. But the problem is that we don't get 2 in magnitude, like we get 1.5, and I have no idea where that comes from. Of course, because, oh crap. Because when we calculate the midpoint, we don't clone the center 1 vector, but we update it in place. And that's why, of course, we get a correct midpoint, but after this line, the center is completely changed. Now we have them in the correct positions. Alright, I guess this is a good point to do a short Q&A break. Let me know how you guys enjoy this puzzling around with geometry. I hope it's not too tedious to watch. How did I spot that error? Good question. Basically I looked at the calculation of center and saw that all the input values are correct, so center should have the correct value. But it didn't, and I wondered, like, how can something like 0.5 happen if all our radii are 2 in magnitude? And yeah, I guess I spotted that because I had a lot of these errors where I forgot a clone of a vector. So I looked at where I'm using center and if I'm maybe doing something to that. How do I host your websites? Basically both the blog and the blog runs on a small virtual server, and the website just runs on a static host. But in front of both of them I have CloudFront as a, how to say that, as a distribution network, and they kind of they mirror the page for you on servers all over the world. So no matter from where you access the web pages, they will get served to you from a server very close to you, which makes them fast. And they also offer protection from denial of service attacks. So yeah, I guess since I'm using them for free, I can give them a small shout out. Cloudflare, that's what I'm using to basically make my blog and web page survive a lot of traffic, even though I only pay very little for it. If public transport vehicles are spawned without player control, then how will players choose the vehicle type, color, etc. they want? Why would they? I don't think the player would choose vehicle type and color. I don't think it will be this in depth. Because like it won't be a transport tycoon. Of course, again, mods can offer detailed vehicle control, but I think I will just implement it as like this one mode of transport, and the amount of vehicles will adjust itself. Maybe you could do something like upgrading of vehicles based on budget, like you have newer vehicles if you have more budget that go faster, and older vehicles if you give less budget, but it won't be that detailed. Yeah. But I mean, that's the only thing I can offer you. I can offer you to build the base game with like some amount of detail and the ability to add detail wherever you want yourself. Yeah, at some point in the future there will be an official modding API that kind of avoids or helps with these kind of issues. But first it will be very quick and dirty. Yeah, I will have to think about how much choice I want to offer in the base game for that. Hold on, I'll close the window. You can already build roundabouts manually. Automated roundabouts will come soon, hopefully. Everyone has different colors. What do you mean by next? Like next in this live stream or next in general or what? What do you mean by next? Yeah, thanks for the offer, but I don't think the game is really ready for more widespread promotion yet. I mean, I really like my small and tight community that I have right now, because I know that they can care about the game even in the state it is in now. But I think a lot of more mainstream people would dismiss it as not being ready yet. So I don't think it's a good idea to promote it more in a more widespread way. What utilities? Power, yes. Water, yes. Sewage, probably. Telecommunications, yes. Telecommunications will be like internet, probably. Alright, next in the live stream, we will just add one minor point to this function. We want to make sure that we only get one intersection point if they stop earlier. And after that, we can actually start to do the more high level geometry for finding out critical sections between lanes, and then start doing that for intersections. Let's see how far we get. Do you consider cars actually parking on the streets, or will they continue to disappear at their destinations? At some point they might park on the streets. An intermediary step would be for them to park on building parking spots. That's easier to do, because you can just leave place on the building lot for cars and display them there. That's kind of easy to do. To have them park on the street would be more difficult, because maybe a car won't find a spot directly in front of the house, so you would have to have stuff like a car parking around the block and the person walking to the house, which of course only makes sense once there are pedestrians. Bye. Thanks for being here. Let's continue coding at like 5 my time, so like in 4 minutes. Can we see those roads you put down in action? What do you mean by in action? Cars? Yeah, but they won't react to each other yet, because this is not like an official intersection. I basically only use them as like lines that we can use. Will it be possible to have a city that runs solely on public transport? Yes, if no one... let me think how that would be possible. I mean, for that to be possible, you would have to have stuff like bus lanes where only buses can go. And if you build your whole city out of bus lanes, no one who wants to use a car will find a path, so they will be forced to use public transport. So I guess that's possible. No, I don't want to have like resources like that. You have to manage resources for power plants and industry. They themselves, of course, do that, but that's not your responsibility. You only have to offer the infrastructure that allows the resources to travel around. Yes, of course, pedestrians will be a thing. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's also possible. If for example, if they figure out that they can go quicker to work or cheaper or more conveniently by using public transport, then citizens will do that. Yeah, sounds interesting. That's true though. So to transport resources, I mean, there might be freight trains, for example, or you could have roads just for resource transportation. But at least commute and going shopping should be possible with just public transport. I mean, I would prefer to actually model the reason why high wealth people don't use public transport, because I don't know, it's more convenient for them to use their own car. And I would like to model these factors that factor into that instead of just hard coding that high wealth people never use public transport. The UI icons, no, they're from an icon set. I only combined some of them together and chose colors. I'm not entirely happy with them. I will try to come up with some simpler ones in the future, or buy an icon set or find like an icon artist. But for now, I think they do a great job. All right, last question before we continue, if there is any. Would a city like Venice be possible, as in a city with roads without roads at all? I mean, there are roads in Venice, it's just very hard to use them. But yeah, it's definitely possible to have a mostly pedestrian city, for example, that is also like maybe not even connected to land. Yeah, that's true, but that's why I say like most of the features will come at some time, but of course it's a long-term project. Yeah, so if you kind of model these two things, you would get that as a natural consequence. With pedestrians, I really want to make it in such a way that it's enough if a house is just connected by a pedestrian path. If it's very like if people want to use their car and it's very inconvenient to have a car with a particular building because like the next parking is a mile away, then that building might stay unused. But I definitely want it to be possible for a building to be just connected by a pedestrian path. Freight train, not freight. Freight, okay, thanks. Today we're working on geometry code for figuring out which lanes on an intersection are conflicting with each other, which we need for traffic interaction on intersections. And let's actually continue with that now. So we almost have circle-circle intersection done. We only need to check if the intersection points actually lie on our segments, and for that we're just going to... Okay, this is going to be ugly, but whatever. We're going to do some pretty ugly copy pasting here. Where's my math? I love you guys too. Yeah, I know that I can do that earlier, but it will complicate the code because then I would have to do this 2 times. Hold on. There's like, in this DJ set, there's an interview going on at the same time, which is super confusing me. Because I can't listen to someone talking and program at the same time. Kind of uses the same part of my brain, and I can't do that, so I switched to some music without people talking. Alright, so what we want to do, this will be ugly, but we can do a refactoring live stream soon. Okay, 0.1.2. Center one. One B, not where B1. Thanks. Thanks, RG. Spotting my mistakes like always. Yes, doing it like this is almost not prone to errors. Okay, let me look at that again. Does it look correct? Okay, looks correct so far. Four, 5, 7, what? Angle to be 0.1. But that's correct. It's supposed to be 0.1, like it's 0.1 on curve 2. Oh, please don't confuse me even more, okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you here anyways. You ask great questions. Okay, I think it's good. So if 0.1 on curve 1 and 0.1 on curve 2, what else? Okay, so let's see if it works. First, let's create a scenario where there should be 2 intersection points and we want both of them. Fail. Let's debug it, I guess. We yeah, like a few comments is actually a good idea. Just to structure it. Okay. Let's add a, oh, we can't add a breakpoint, why? Oh, sometimes you can't add breakpoints and then you have to reload. Ah, crap, I reloaded the chat accidentally. I hope you don't write anything important. No, you can write something again. Oh, I wanted to do 2 intersections, right? Is that even possible? Yes. Okay, so our points are apparently this and this. Okay, is it on curve 1? True. True. Both of them are on curve 1. True. True. Yeah, so... okay, D is not equal to this. I think our condition here is wrong. So D is smaller than radius 1 plus radius 2. And it is bigger than the difference. Yeah, so we should go inside here. Okay, correct. So we should get a result. Because these are both through. And these are both through, so what? Oh, now we get a result. Okay, maybe I forgot to reload, that would be stupid. They're in the correct point. Okay, so this works. Let's try again, just to make sure. Oh, I reloaded shit again. I have to remember to stop alt-tabbing to the wrong window. Okay. Okay. So now let's try one intersection point. We get 1. Yes, exactly 1. And let's try no intersection points. Correct. Yeah, it's almost impossible, that's true, but we should still include it. Okay, so we got that working. So now we can continue to implement our get curved lanes intersection points, where we started implementing what we want for a line-line intersection. Let me demonstrate that again. We don't need this anymore. So this should already work for 2 straight lanes. So what do we have here? Lane 0 and lane 2. So get, what is it called? Get curved lanes. Get curved, no, that's what we, no, that's true. Get curved lanes intersection points, lane 0, A. Yeah, lanes 0, A direction, lane 0, B, lanes 2, A, lanes 2, A direction, lanes 2, B, lane width as our thickness. Let me check if that's actually lane width. Yes, okay. A direction 1 is not defined. Which line is that? A296 in one direction. I don't know, I wrote it like this there, okay. Reload, how about you reload? What? Can I read property of undefined? Oh, maybe because I should add lanes first, I guess. Okay. So, okay. Looks almost right, but they're like too far off. Like it should be between this one and this one. We have to use width thickness half, yes. So let's do that again. And if we look here now, these are the corners of where this lane and this lane actually intersect, so that's good. Now we have to implement that for the other cases where we don't have two lines. Yeah, exactly, that's what we have to do. So let's start with line circle. So for the lines, we basically took the center line of each lane and offset it to the left by thickness half and to the right by thickness half, and then got the intersection points between all these combinations. So for if one of them is curved, we do almost the same. So for the line, it will be the same, of course. And then we already have perpendicular A2 direction, and we need perpendicular B2. Or first we need B2 direction, which is get B direction for arc. A2 direction B2. We need to figure this out in order to calculate the critical areas on lanes on intersections. I hope that's enough explanation for that. So perpendicular B2 direction, I guess, is B2 direction, yes. And then we can do this. So A we offset by perpendicular, yes, and B we need to offset by that, and the direction will stay the same, yes. Oh, whoops. No, it's concat, right? And we start with this and A2 direction. Oh, thanks, RG. And see you, Melnu. do that for all combinations. Looks good. What are you complaining about? Yeah, it's already defined, whatever. Let's check that. So we want a straight one and a curved one. So we want lane 0 and lane 4. No, that's not correct. Crap. Why is that? Yeah, almost like with the straight road, but not completely. Am I giving the correct parameters? A1, B1, A2, A direction, B2. Let's maybe display those just to make sure that those are correct. Let's see if those are correct. Lane 0, lane 4. Yeah, those aren't correct at all. Like, these ones are correct, but the other ones aren't correct at all. B2. Ah, crap. Yeah, completely wrong order of parameters here. Let's try that again. Looks much better. And now these are correct. But why do we also get these? We shouldn't get these. That's interesting that we also get these. Let's have a look. Do I still have that in there? Line and curve. Yeah, those are the second intersection points, but our intersections of line and curve should reject them. That's strange. Okay, I guess we have to debug this function again. You still got 0.2 in there. Where? Yeah, okay, let's try it, I guess. So straight and curved. Lanes 0 and 4. Now it's empty. What? Oh, we want 4, not 2. We get 2 of them, crap. Okay, I guess we have to step through. Let's debug it. That wasn't lane 4, I think it was 0 and 4, yes. So 0.1 on curve, true. 0.2 on curve, true. No, maybe not. Alright, slice angle 2.3. Smaller, also smaller. Smaller. That's not good. That's strange. We always subtract the center so they point in the correct direction. But I will paint a picture to explain what this code does and how I think it should work. So basically here we have our circle, but we only have a segment from here till here, and we found, for example, with our line, let's say we have 2 intersection points with this line, 1 here and 1 here, and we want to see which of those is inside our segment here. So what we'll do is, here this is called A, this is called B. Let's say here's our center of the circle. What we do is we check this angle and the angle here and the angle here. And if beta and gamma are both smaller than alpha, then it means that our point is inside our segment. Now for the other point, the angle beta will be this and gamma will be this. So beta is bigger than alpha. So we know that it is outside of our segment. But the angles that I'm getting here don't correspond to what I'm seeing, which is kind of strange. I don't know if that can fuck it up even in this case. Oh, I know what the problem is. I'm using the wrong points. I'm using the A and the B of the line, not of the circle. Okay. Anywhere else? No, that's everything. So that should fix it. What do you mean by that? Range test 4.1. Don't I need to compare between those two? Like, how am I doing too much work there? But let's first see if it works now. So again, it's lane 4 and lane 0. No, I don't. The problem is I don't have the absolute angles relative to the coordinate axis of A to center and B to center. Can you... Oh. Why does it use the select tool? No, pen. Oh crap. Alright, so I don't have the angle to this line and I don't have the angle to this line. I only have the relative angle alpha between them. So that's why I need to do 2 tests. I hope that makes sense. Okay, but let me try. Okay, now it looks good. We have only this set here. So now we can remove our debug points here and do the last. Okay, this case where we have circle line the other way around, we can just yeah, we can just call ourselves with the parameters reversed. Yeah, the thing is, I'm not, the arc segment isn't described by angles at all. In the game, the way an arc is described is by, why is this so strange? By its A point and B point and a vector of the direction at A. And from that you can deduce both where the center is as well as the radius. Because like here you have a right angle. But I never bother to figure out what the angles here to the x-axis are. I only care about the relative angle here. I think in the end it comes down to exactly the same amount of work. Thanks, I always forget that because I'm still kind of used to functional languages where you have implicit return. Okay. By the way, just for you, the reason why it's represented like that, the arc segments with the direction at A instead of angles, is because then it's much easier to connect like the following road segments, because hold on, let me draw this a little nicer. Because if I know this direction at the beginning and at the end, I know how to connect either new curved segments or straight segments just based on these direction vectors. No, but I did a lot of Erlang work before on my previous project. Alright, let's do circle circle before we have to finish today. I think we can do that. So basically we need this 2 times. Yeah. No, not these 2s. And here we need a one direction. And that should already work in theory. Let's test it. So 2 curved sections. Our lanes are lane 2 and lane 6. So 2, 2, 2, 6, 6, 6. And nope. Empty. Why is that? Maybe we should draw them again. Okay, these are correct, but it doesn't find any intersections. So let's step through it. Okay, so first let's see if we get into here. Ah, no. That's odd. Let's try that again. What is D? D is 355. Our radiuses are because my radiuses can be negative. I forgot about that. So we have to absolute them here. Let's try again. Yeah, we will try that in a second. What? Still 0? I have to do that here as well, I guess, or else they might add up. Yeah, radius can be negative because of the way I do my other geometry. It basically means if it's a curve that goes to the right or to the left. Okay, now it should finally work. Now we go inside there. Okay, that's good. Now if we display them, they are in the correct place indeed. So let's try a couple different scenarios. So what did we want to try? Maybe let's try one with 2 intersections. We should get 8 of these points. Correct. What happens if they both curve the same way, like this? Should still work, right? Yes, correct, it still works. Okay, looks good. Yeah, basically, yeah. Which is useful in some of the calculations in geometry. All right, let's do our final Q&A. Yes, that's true. These are kind of the small victories that you need. But I'm glad if you guys enjoy watching it. Because yeah, that's just the big part of programming. You need to work on lots of tiny stuff like this before you can work on the like nice and visible stuff again. This is we only look at intersections between 2 lanes. Of course, on an intersection with lots of roads, there will be many different pairs of lanes that you will have to look at. I won't say, of course. Smallest curvature is just constant. which is basically there. Like if a circle is almost a line, at some point I will stop using circle geometry and start using line geometry because it will be more precise. Like in many cases it's more precise to assume that something is a line rather than a circle with a really huge radius, because the circle geometry kind of breaks apart, but the line geometry would still be accurate. Did you do everything you had planned for today? No, less. I thought that we would be able to move on to actual intersection behavior, but apparently like this geometry stuff is really finicky, but I'm okay with that. I mean, now I have this and I can reuse it whenever I need it. How many roads can cross over in one intersection? In theory, infinitely many. I mean, I'm not completely sure if it works right now, but we can just try. So we can create a T intersection and then make a four-way intersection. It's a little broken, the position is off as you can see here, but it works. And then we can just keep adding roads onto that and it will create this like, okay, that's a bit broken. But yeah, it supports that. And yeah, with our intersection checking, we should be like, vehicles should even be able to properly navigate it and avoid other vehicles on there. What do you mean if both curves are equal? That will never happen. Like you won't have a road directly on top of a road. Looks like a spider web now. Let's spawn some cars just for fun. I don't know if they can use that, but they should be able to. I mean, they will pass through each other. But yeah. Just for fun. Whatever. I don't even know what I clicked there, but looks crazy, right? No, because of real life. I don't know. I mean, I have the schedule that I try to do them on Thursdays and Saturdays. And I almost always do them at 1 PM UTC, but in none of the cases lately I actually knew if it was possible to do it until like 3 hours before the live stream. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't announce them earlier. When do you plan on implementing overpasses, if ever? Well, overpasses and bridges will be the first thing before I implement terrain, because there will be a nice introduction to three-dimensional roads. How do your family and friends feel about you leaving Germany? Well, they support it. And I will miss them, of course, but it's only for a year in quotes, and I think it will be a great experience. Yeah, this looks really broken. But I think it's like a nice way to end today's stream. Yeah, the cars are stuck because I accidentally made some cars spawn like in the middle of the intersection. So now a car is going there and suddenly like a car spawns on top of it and it slams, it brakes, and that's how they get stuck like this. Okay, I'll try to add more roads now. I don't know if the code supports updating all of that, but okay, I think now I crashed it. It's, oh no, it's still working. Amazing. Will you change where you host your website? No, it works great. Because if you do, we can discover where you went. Ah, no, but right now, because you think like I'm hosting my website in Germany, no, I'm hosting in America somewhere, so that's not going to be in. What are you going to do next live stream? Probably, hopefully, finally work on actual intersection maybe. Okay, I think now it like completely crashed. Ah, no, it's still going. Okay, interesting. Yeah, something like that would be nice. Yeah, it's really important for me to not hard code, like, for example, there can only be 3 or 4 road intersections, but I try to solve everything in a very generic way. Huh, that's interesting. Start time and shadows on the wall. Yeah, but I think, no, I won't tell you what will be a much bigger hint. You will have to figure that out yourselves. Yeah, that would be a nice variant of the spawner tool. But I think it's also nice that you can create vehicles with one very particular path. Like we needed that for traffic, for lane changing behavior. We actually wanted to tell these vehicles to go exactly from here to exactly there. But it would, of course, be interesting to have more complicated or different spawners later. Why was there such a big delay? I think, yeah, because of some like geometric inaccuracies, it created this huge chunk back there, and it had to update basically collision information about where roads are for buildings, and that is still not optimized and takes a long time for long roads. Yeah, I mean that's easy because it's only like what, 3,000 car. This only starts becoming a problem at like, I don't know, 40,000 cars. Yeah, any questions for the last 2 minutes? Nice try. But I think even if I gave an answer, it wouldn't be helpful. If you zone house traffic and also car spawner traffic, yeah, they are equal to each other. No, that's a... oh, something happened. That's interesting. What happened? Okay. Something broke down now. So yeah, I guess that's a sign that I should end it for today. Thank you all a lot for watching. It was great to have you here for these kind of geometric puzzles. I hope to see you again next week in one of the live streams. Like always, I will announce them more or less spontaneously. I hope some of you will still be able to join us. And yeah, have a nice week. See you in next week's update. Bye bye.